of Stories with Ori. As you see, I come to you from where I do most of my work, actually. Okay? Uh, and I got my bookshelves behind me, and you see my books, and I want you to know there's a hardcover copy there. I only have two hardcover copies left available. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about my life and the Mafia. A lot of you ask me questions about the Mafia, etc., and I want to give you some answers. There's Lindy. Hello, Lindy. It's Sonia. God bless you. Thank you. You know, Lindy was writing me about, most of the people come see you are women. Well, my movie's going to be a love story with comedy in it. You're going to love it once that movie comes out, I got to tell you. Hello, Kasana. How are you? Okay. Hey, folks, before I begin, please hit the subscribe button, like, and share. I know you don't like to hit that like button. It's not just for me. I see it with all content creators. They don't get a lot of likes. You folks keep asking me, why don't I write it? When am I going to write another book? I got about 3 or 4 other books that I could write. Okay? I don't. Number one, this book, which I sold over 20,000 copies of, I did it by myself on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, here on YouTube. And, I don't do well on X. I don't. It's all politics and all that crap. And I'm on LinkedIn too, and, some people there about it. But my biggest is Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and so forth. Now, a lot of you people ask me, how do you purchase my book? How do I get an autographed copy? So let me do it, explain it. Most of you do not know that I have a website. Now, in my profile, you will see my profile, and then from what I see from my phone, it says manage, and then you see all those letters and numbers. You hit those letters and numbers. That brings you, it says merchandise, and it brings you to my website. And the first thing that pops up is my book. And I had the hard copy. See, when I initially came out with my book, we did 1,000 hard copies. I had 100 of them. Amazon sold out in the first couple weeks. Out of that 100 that I have, I only have 2 hard copies left, and therefore the price is $199. There's my girl, Sonia. Sonia, thank you so much for that thanks button. Folks ask me, how do you hit that? Some people say they don't have the thanks button. I don't have the answer for that, folks. We tried to tell you how to do it, okay? But for those of you, let's go back to my book. You want my book and you want an autograph copy, go to my website there. And also, for those of you who say you don't have a thanks button but yet want to send me money, you will see that my PayPal, my Venmo, and my CashApp are there. So that's another way that you could send it. And that's how you do it. Okay? And if you go to my website, you want to get to know me, The way to get to know me is, first of all, purchase the book, of course. And my book is available on Amazon and Audible and Kindle. Get back, why am I not writing another book? Unless a publisher comes to me and offers me money, okay, that I get paid up front for, I'm not going to write another book because it's very tough to sell them because people are not reading no more. People don't read and people don't listen. They don't listen. And you're going to learn an awful about how to listen very shortly. Okay? Now, for those of you who come in here and you have not subscribed, you will not be able to leave a comment, okay? Because unless you subscribe and do it for a few minutes, okay? Can't leave a comment. I'm sorry, okay? So, I don't have 1 million subscribers like some people, but the subscribers I got are the best in the world. I consider my subscribers my family, okay? And read my comments, do all that stuff, okay? Somebody here just says she wants to buy my book, the hard copy book, all right? And she's for $199. Just go to my website, purchase it, and I put a little bonus in with that book that you'll be astonished with. Actually, what I do for anybody, and I only got 2 left, folks, but if you buy the hard copy book, okay, for $199, I will throw in free the soft cover book. Now, why? The hard copy book was my first book, okay? It does not have those letters, all right, and it has not been revised as this book is, okay? So that way you will get both, and they will both someday be worth something, all right? I'm going to read you something, folks. If you go to my website, you could read about all the gangsters I know, things that I've done, see pictures of other gangsters that I might not have talked about here, and so forth. But here's something, this is a blog. These blogs were written by other people and not me. I want you to understand that. And so, please allow me to read this to you, okay? Mafia movies are surefire hits in Hollywood. But what about the Hollywood Mafia itself? The Mafia rose to power in America on the East Coast during the Prohibition era. After gaining around there, they naturally decided to expand out west. Actually, the Mafia in this country began in Louisiana, folks. That's where it began, okay? While the LA mob competes and even coexists with Mexican, Russian, and other crime organizations, they're still feared and even revered. Here are a few stories better than anything in theater about why mob bosses still get a lot of respect. It's a pleasure spending time with you folks. And the mob, before we go into these fascinating, let's talk about respect. I talk about respect all the time. No, for all these people on YouTube, they don't have, a lot of them don't have respect, as you all have seen yourself. Okay? Where's Wyatt? Wyatt here today? Hi, Wyatt. Where's Wyatt? No. Wyatt? Sonia. Lindy. I don't see Wyatt here. Okay? Noel, there's my friend Noel. We're going to be getting together soon. All right. Very soon we are. Okay. Thank you for being here. There's Wyatt Earp. Okay, buddy, I was missing you. All right. All right. But people, gangsters are some of the best people in the world. Or some of the kindest and most giving people that you'll ever meet. But let's go back about some mob bosses they read about. Bugsy Siegel. Now, I think it was Sonia who just, Sonia, or was it Nancy that wrote me? They just seen the episode, the story I did on Bugsy Siegel, okay? And and I did in front of his house, which is right over here in Beverly Hills, okay? Where he was unalived at. I explained how it happened. I explained where the order came from. It originated in Cuba. 3 people, Lucky Luciano, Frank Costello, and Meyer Lansky. Out of those 3 people, I knew 2 of them. I knew Frank Costello and Meyer Lansky. So now you know that when I talk about over there, how it happened, what happened, is because I know. Okay? Bugsy Siegel, Jack Dragna, who's a great boss. Okay? He was a boss for a long time here. A boss during my time was Peter John Milano. I didn't like Peter. And Peter didn't like me. Okay? You know why Peter didn't like me? Because people really didn't recognize him as the boss, and everybody was saying Ori Spado was the boss of Hollywood. Okay? So let's get to Orlando Ori Spado. You wouldn't think that a veteran who sold Prudential Insurance would be a mob boss. Well, you're wrong. Orlando Spado these days seems like an unassuming, well-dressed gentleman. Yeah, I come to you well-dressed every day. Orlando Spado seems like an unassuming, well-dressed, and has incredible true stories to prove it, which I do. Spado had a knack for making problems of the rich and famous disappear. The LA fixture became known as the Hollywood mob boss. He got to rub elbows with both Hollywood royalty and also the members of the several notorious crime families, and which I did. The Russian, the Albanian, the Mexican, the Southsiders, the Crips, the Bloods. All right? People from all walks of life respected him, and he was in high demand. Folks, you could read the whole entire thing on my website, okay? And many other stories. And read a lot of the things that I've done. Now, as a child, I still got the book, the Lucky Luciano story, okay? Let's see. There's so many books. There it is, right here. Lucky Luciano, I got a story. Look at just a little book. See how brown it is? I've had this for a long time, okay? We all know how, we should know you see a movie. You know, last night I was watching a movie. I just looking for something. Up pops the movie on Meyer Lansky. I watched about half of it. I got to watch the other half tonight. All right. But I had the honor of knowing that gentleman. And he was a gentleman. But as a child growing up, I was always interested in it, but I didn't know nothing. I didn't really learn about it until I got married. And the night of my stag party, after the stag party, my father and I went to San Carlos restaurant. And we're sitting there. And San Carlos was owned by my friend Frank Russo, who became my friend after that, okay, whose father was the boss of Rome, New York. Come from Calabria, just like my family. But it was then that my father told me that his father, my grandfather, was a made man in the Mafia. Yes. And didn't want his kids be involved. But my father used to go to Springfield, Massachusetts a lot. Nobody really knew why. But Springfield, Massachusetts was a stronghold for the Calabrian Mafia, which is called the Ndrangheta. And that's when I learned more, but I went into the insurance business and, became successful there. Go. All right? Can you hear me now? Let me know, because I had a phone call in. And I don't know why it stops. But anyway, that's when I learned about the Mafia. And then after my first indictment, okay, it was during my years with Frank Russo that I met Frank Costello. All right, it was around 1970. Frank died in 1972. But we used to meet him at the Waldorf Astoria. Frank was always dressed every day. And upon my first meeting with Frank Russo tells me, don't talk unless you're talking to, unless you just listen. And those are the first rules you learn. Listen. You see, today's world, these YouTubers, they come on, they listen for 31 seconds. 31 seconds. And then they think you know everything. I spend an hour here or 40 minutes, whatever it is. They didn't hear everything else. They see the title, okay? And folks, I don't know why. We're just not getting people in this room. Only 14 people here. What am I doing wrong? I guess people don't like me. Okay. 604 Flex. No, I did not know Joe Gentile and his group from Vancouver. Okay, although I was in Vancouver a few times, but those names I do not recall. Okay, I'm sorry. And then after Frank Costello, at the Warwick Hotel, while gambling was just being approved in Atlantic City, guess who had the suite above me? Meyer Lansky. And he and I met in the lobby. And, because he was getting ready to walk his dog, and he and I just, boom, like bumped into each other and started talking like we knew each other 100 years. It was really funny, okay? And I would walk with them. Every night we walk down 54th Street to 5th Avenue, 5th over to 57th, up to 6th Avenue, back over to 54th Street. And I would listen and listen and listen and learn, learn, learn. See, one thing you know about all the gangsters is we like to talk. All right? Yeah. And we're good talkers. You got a lot of them on YouTube. With all the people, gangsters on YouTube, there's only 3 that are not rats. And I'm one of them. The other is Red Shea, an Irishman out of Boston. Great guy. Okay. The other one is Joey Merlino. And that's about it. Can't think of anybody else. All the others are rats. So these rats can go on YouTube and talk about everything. Like I Sammy Gravano, what he talks about. Everything he talks about are against the rules of YouTube. But yet he's allowed to do it. Why? He's giving instruction to people. Basically, he's giving them education of how to unalive a person, how to set them up and all that there. Another guy talking about how he does things with a bat. What did they think? Are the only ones that ever did that? Crazy. But so it was Maya Lasky, Frank Costello, and then through Angelo Bruno out of Philadelphia, he introduced me and got me a meeting with Carlo Marcello in New Orleans, Louisiana. So that's how, and it's just bio, all right? Russell Buffalino, very big powerhouse. You all remember the movie The Irishman. He was the main guy about the Jimmy Hoffa murder and so forth. Okay? Very close to Jimmy Hoffa. Russell Buffalino, always dressed immaculately. Suit, tie. This is how we all dressed. Yes, we always met at restaurants. Yes, we ate. We love food. Okay? But we were classy. We were the old gangsters. Now what you see today, let me ask you a question. If any of you watch any other gangster, do you see them coming out dressed up every day? No. But you see me most of the time, at least with a sport coat. Okay? I do that out of respect for you folks who come, listen to me, and subscribe. Now, I got a lot of things that I'm going to be doing, more stories I'm going to be telling you as we go along here. My son Anthony, you hear me all talk about my son Anthony a lot. Okay? Do you see that picture up there? Let me show you. That's my son Anthony and me. The year was 2000, 25 years ago, in Las Vegas at the Sahara Hotel. My son moved out here in 1999. And I brought him to Las Vegas for the first time. At the Sahara, I got comped, all that stuff. We're having dinner. Okay? And Linda, you're going to love this story, and all you women will. Okay? And if you remember Las Vegas the way it used to be, okay, you had the the girl, beautiful girl going around with a camera to take your picture. And this beautiful, gorgeous girl comes to our table, all right, taking our picture. She was beautiful, all right? And then she asked my son, she said, "Is your father married?" And I'm right there. And my son says, "No." And the next thing you know, I had her phone number. And we dated for a while, all right? Liberty Bible Institute, you want to be part of my family. If you're subscribed here at Liberty, you're already part of my family. Have you subscribed? Okay? Uh, but anyways, she was a beautiful girl. She used to be a model, so forth. Man, I wonder what she's doing now. Uh, but, so us gangsters, we're not only street smart, we were book smart. See, the first thing, if you hear Meyer Lansky in the movie I watched last night, he talks about the books he reads, all right, and his interest in history. Frank Costello read books. All the names I told you about they read books about history. They wanted to know. Even Sonny Franchise, okay? One of my last conversations with Sonny Franchise, he started talking to me. He said something about religion. I said, "Sonny, don't tell me you're born again." He said, "Nah, screw that stuff with my son." I said, "Well, what do you know about the Bible?" Because he talked about the Bible. I gotta be honest with you. I have never read the Bible in its entirety, okay, or closely. Maybe I read 5 pages of it, okay. Uh, I said, "Son, when the hell did you ever read it?" He said, "Hey, buddy," he says, "when I was in Leavenworth and had me in the shoe," he says, "I read every single book they had. And the only book that I didn't read was the Bible, and it's the last book there." Try and talk like science, so he talked, okay? He said, "Buddy, I gotta tell you, those guys that wrote that book, they were very smart." And it amazed me. He knocked my socks off, okay? Uh, Sonny and I, before he passed away at the age of 103, we were speaking like every other day. And when I called the nursing home, people that answered the phone there, they knew my voice. And I was the one who ended up announcing Sonny's death. Now, Sonny was a legend. In the old days, Sonny was John. John Gotti was Sonny after Sonny, okay? Because Sonny was the guy always. He was a good-looking guy, just like John Gotti was, impeccably dressed. Women loved him. The fancy cars, the whole ball of wax. That was Sonny Franchise, all right? And he was a serious guy. Now, ask me a question. Did I ever really trust Sonny? No. He was my friend. Who did I trust? I trusted Jimmy Conchi, the underboss, right here in Los Angeles. Okay? You see, Jimmy and I made money together. There's a difference. Okay? And I'm going to talk more about Jimmy Conchi, more about Sonny Franchise, and other gangsters in the future. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about me. I got to know these people. I turned down, you all heard me, it's in my book also, that I turned down my button twice. The first time was right here in Los Angeles. Now, the first thing, you just don't go and get your button. You got to be proposed, okay? Well, Jimmy Kachi proposed me out here, okay? And then it was Pete Milano who approved that, okay? And the date came that I was going to get married, another guy, and somebody from Las Vegas. Three of us were to get married that day, okay? And we were going to go to Pete's house out in the valley. But that morning we had a meeting, Jimmy and I, with another faction of the LA family. And when things got a little heated, they brought in bikers. And wait a minute, we're Italians. You're bringing in bikers? Jimmy went through the roof, became a big hassle. Next thing you know, we're in my house. All right. Stevie Sino, Fat Stevie from Las Vegas brought in, I can't remember the guy's name now, brought him in from Las Vegas who was supposed to get married. And then the other guy was already here. And everybody's there, and Jimmy was cooking and yelling and screaming, okay? And I'm going, Jimmy, wait, Jimmy, I don't want this. Oh, no, you gotta. He says, you're everything we need here in Los Angeles. A, number one, I was an earner. B, number two, I lived by the rules of America. Okay, I lived my life. I knew what the rules were. Okay, I was not a bullshit guy. Okay, uh, 604. You got my attention, 604. Huh? You got my attention. Okay, buddy? Thank you for coming. And then Jimmy had to run out to meet another member of the LA family. Okay? Flex, I told you, I do not know Joe Dentile and his group from Vancouver. Okay? Don't worry, Lindy, it's okay. All right, he's a good guy. All right? I just don't know Joe. I answered that before. All right? Yeah, Lisa, I always, what am I going to do? Okay? It's not like I go out to a job every day and I'm making money. Okay? And it's not like I'm making a lot of money here. Okay? So, for those of you who give me that thanks, and when I tell you it generally helps me, I ain't bullshitting. Okay? All right? And my book's a real book, by the way. It's got an index, huh? Okay, not like these other gangster books these other gangsters write, okay? They don't have an index. They don't have an epilogue. They don't have a prologue. And none of them got those letters that I have at the end of my book. None of them. You know why? You know who created that? I did. Okay, actually it was my publisher at the time. Thought that would be a good idea. I thought it was crazy. I sat down and I started writing these letters. So you're going to see them. They're in the back of my book for those. Okay? And they're even on the Audible. But so Thank God I didn't get married. Then I was back in New York. Sonny was all upset because Jimmy proposed. I'm proposing you here in New York. You're with me, and he's slamming on the desk. And we were in a diner in Long Island. Sonny, I don't want that button. It brings too much heat. I like me like I want to be free and go and do what I want to do. Okay? I don't like taking orders from people. And thank God that never happened. But anyways, that's the way. And that's the reasons why I am not made. I don't want to be made. And now, what? I talked to you about Frank Costello, Russell Buffalino, Carlo Marcello, Meyer Lansky, take all Lucky Luciano, all these old timers. They were smart. They lived by the rules. They obeyed the rules. This is PayPal link. Yes, thank you. Okay. Sonia, on $13.99 again. God bless you. Thank you so much. I love this girl. Thank you, Sonia. See, she's not shy hitting that thanks button. She knows how to do it. But anyways, look, I'm not going to beg people. I don't beg for nothing. Okay, if you love, you want to show your love for me, that's one way to do it. Okay? And but I read you that there. And we talked about, so the difference. Why is, people keep asking me, is the mafia still exists? It exists in Sicily, Calabria, Naples, other parts of Italy. It exists. In the United States, yes, but not like it did. Because what happened is the same thing that happened generation after generation in this country. All right? The young men that they bring in don't have any respect. The young men that they bring in nowadays, you don't have to go to work. You don't have to live by the rule. They just want to bring people in to make money. Okay? They did away with the rule of you can no longer unalive anybody. That puts himself in a very weak position. No. You all heard about the five families. Chicago is by itself there, basically. Okay? Chicago is a great outfit. It's called the outfit. And they're great there. Okay? Boston has their own. But the five families in New York, the best one, the biggest is the Genovese family. They call them the hippie family. You don't hear a lot about these people, but they're the biggest money makers of the five families, okay? And they're still into everything, the cement, the building, all that there. They're into all that there, okay? The others lost that there. The Colombo family, they have a war over somebody sneezing, okay? And everybody got to take to the mattresses. So, that's about it for New York. Is there one in Los Angeles? Yeah, they say there is, but they got nobody. So it's basically dead out here. All right, so it really don't exist here anymore. Okay? They don't have anything. They don't control anything. And so it basically does not exist. There's a lot of things that I don't talk about in the life because I cannot talk about them, okay? Now, my son started a subscription thing, and there's 3 different levels, and I wanted to go over that there. If you go to the subscript, if you want to subscribe, please do. I appreciate it. Sonia, you're absolutely correct. Politicians stole our business. I'll tell you something. We were Boy Scouts compared to the politicians. Are you kidding me? These guys the politicians make $1 million a day, okay? We were lucky to just go out and make a score, 10, 15 grand a day, all right? That was a good day. That was a great day, all right? Some days we didn't make any scores. But these politicians, and nobody's ever going to clean the swamp. Don't even ever even think it. All they're going to do is build their own new swamp with their people. Okay? It's a teeter-totter. Red, blue, and all that crap. I talked to you about that the United States is 5% of the world's population, but yet we house 25% of the world's inmates. So I did a little bit of research. All right? The United States houses the most prisoners in the world with over 1.8 million people incarcerated as of 2025. The U.S. has the largest population, followed by China and Brazil. China has got billions and billions of people. I don't know how many, okay? Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for coming, honey. We appreciate you. All right? Go do what you got to do, dear. All right? Well, the United States has 1.8 million. China, 1.69 million. Brazil, 889,000. India, 573,000. Why is the United States got more prisoners, but yes, a lesser population? Okay? Because those crooks in Washington keep making laws that they don't have to live by. All right? My son tells me, Dad, you got to be able to stay on one topic. Your title's got to do this, okay? And you know what? I keep trying. But my son has done something for me. Yes, Sonia, it is a big business, one of the biggest business there are, because we have, thing Geo, and we have all these private prisons. Okay. Anyways, that's the United States. I'm going to be talking about Street Smart or Book Smart. I'm going to do a story on that. Modern Mafia Real World Reactions. I basically almost did that. Does the mob survive in 2025? A little bit. What do I tell young people? I got a lot of stories that are going to be coming out. They're all here. My son did a nice job on that there. And we're up to 28 people, or 20 now, okay? You know what I don't understand, folks? I went through YouTube, as I do every day, to see what other people are talking about. And you got YouTubers that do not have their own content, but yet they'll take other people's content and they'll show it. Okay? Like I saw one today. They're using what Tisa tells is saying, and they show the whole show of what Tisa did, and like it becomes their show, and they got a lot of followers. What's wrong with people? Do you like to watch reruns? I mean, they're taking somebody. I just don't understand how that's even allowed. Okay? How they allowed to take somebody else's content and then they're using it for their own. And they do it every day. They're trolls. I don't know if they're trolls. I don't know what a troll is anymore. Okay, no, it's a real guy there. Okay, doing it. Uh, you got the guy in England, Morel, his name is. Okay, today you gotta be talking about Kim Kardashian's daughter and how she dresses. Why can't they leave the children alone? Okay, why do they gotta go after the children? Especially him. Okay? Mm. Well, folks, that's all. You know what? I'm a little tired today. Maybe that's it. My son is correct. Have you subscribed yet? Anybody here subscribed? If you haven't, please do. All right. I'm going to say goodbye for today, folks. Uh, Liberty, Ori is Catholic. Yes, Lindy, I'm Catholic. Folks, I told you to go to my website. You can read everything about me. The day I was born, where I was born, everything's there. Okay, it's also in my book. I understand people don't read. Okay? And people don't listen. Folks, if I didn't listen, I would not be here and have the ability to be talking to you. If I did not listen, if I did not have respect. You see, the first thing a young guy, all right, when he's starting to hang around with somebody in the mob, first thing he's told, just listen. You could learn more about listening. People don't listen. And it's proven every single day. Right here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, across every social media platform. I could tell by some of the comments. I'm not a dummy. I could read by somebody with their comment that I know immediately they did not listen, because if they listened, then they would not have asked that question that they asked. People don't do that. A lot of people write me about Michael Franchise. In all honesty, if it were not for Michael Franchise, I never would have met Sonny Franchise. Because Michael was causing a friend of mine a problem. And I ended up, through my friend Lou Perry, going, he set the arrangement up that I met with Sonny. And when Sonny investigated, he found out it was his stepson, Michael. And so he called for a sit-down. I had to go to New York. Sit-down was in a Russian tea room. It's all in my book. If you don't read, buy the Audible. Listen. 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 I know people don't like to hear that. People don't like to be told what to do. okay? But if we have any young men here, okay, start listening. It'll make your life so much better, and you will learn so much more. Don't think that you know it all. I'm 80 years old, and I don't know it all. I only know what I know from my years on this planet. So, folks, I want to thank you all for coming today. All right, as usual, all my love and respect to you all. All right, and I'll be coming back with more stories from Ori. Thank you, everybody.